Welcome back to another episode of Lake Lot Build. We have a really exciting day today shaping up. So our floor has cured out. The LiteDeck, as you can see right here, has showed up. So David and his crew are down here going over how everything goes together for this LiteDeck to come to be put in. We're going to start working with this LiteDeck that's here, and we'll walk over there in just a little bit and show you what a LiteDeck floor looks like. But right now they're putting up a ledger board so that the LiteDeck is going to sit on that. You can see the floor has now been protected so that our new concrete floor doesn't get damaged. And when they pour the concrete, you might have some drip throughs on the little edges and the pieces, and so we don't want to drip fresh concrete onto our fresh floor. So that's. Let's go over a little bit about LiteDeck. And so I will show you the first part of it and then the second part that will be stacked on top of it. The first part of it, LiteDeck comes like this, and it has this channel, right? It comes back up. And so these are a metal C-channel right there that allows it the strength while we're setting it up, so it doesn't want to collapse on itself. Now, you'll stick those all together. You can see right here, there's the groove, there's the tongue. They all interlock with each other as you stack them side by side by side. You pour the concrete across the top here, and it makes this T, right? Kind of like a bridge girder. This is a metal C-channel that's embedded in this, and that one there, and gives it the rigidity to hold flat while you're stacking them out there. It's not enough to hold the concrete. That is why we'll have the jack stands underneath it to brace it. But once the concrete is set up and cured out, then you'll remove the jack stands underneath, and then you have a clear span. And we are going to have a clear span of 24 feet. 24 feet. Well, good morning, David.
John?
All right, so you want to talk to us about what is going on here with the ledger board and them cutting that off?
I can. Hopefully I won't be too sniffly. Hay fever season right now. What we're doing is we're putting up this 2x4 that goes along the side, and all the way around will just be a band that the LiteDeck forms will sit on. If you'll notice, you probably can't see it in the video, but there's a little bit of a slight incline there and a decline back from the middle. And that's so that it's called a camber, and that will allow the LiteDeck to settle 3/4 of an inch so that it'll be completely flat when we get it up there. So we get this laid out, and we've got 2x6 bracing that goes across this way, and all kinds of support legs that are going to go in. And we'll start setting the LiteDeck forms, get the caps on top of that, and we'll have 14 inches of LiteDeck with a 4-inch cap on the top, altogether 14 inches top to bottom, and strong enough for you to park your Sherman tank.
That's going to be so cool.
You'll notice that Seth cut off the inside of the ICF form. We're leaving the outside. And the reason that we do that, we left the concrete low when we poured the ICF walls.
Yeah.
So when we're pouring the deck for the LiteDeck, it will actually fall over the side and become a monolithic pour where the walls and the LiteDeck will be together. These long rebars that are sticking up will actually be bent down and be tied into the LiteDeck.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
So it will be one system.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, here comes another one. Where is it? There it is. Oh my gosh. Those are the A10 Warthog. Yeah. Look at that. It has stopped construction. 3 A10 Warthog. Here comes another one.
video, huh?
Yeah, I got. Oh my gosh! All right, we are on the second day of putting the LiteDeck in. You guys are all out here working. Everybody want to say hi today? Give us a wave. They have already got all the LiteDeck put on. So right now, I'm going to climb down here close to the edge and see if I can show you. So bear with me here as I try not to fall. And we'll show you what these guys are working on. All right. The form that we saw that I showed you is this one, this lower one. And then you have this second piece that goes on. And so what it makes is our channel nice and deep. And then we're going to have another 4 inches of concrete that goes on top of that. So we're going to have a nice deep channels. This is 3/4 inch rebar that goes here. And then we're going to have the 1/2 inch in a 2x2 mesh that goes on top of this. So the LiteDeck comes with these lower ones, and then you put this topper on it. And so if you want a even more longer span or more weight, you just actually stack another one of these on here, which makes your leg even deeper. I mean, it's absolutely ingenious because LiteDeck only has to make really 2 different products, right? Your bottom piece and then your other pieces too. You keep stacking to make the depth deeper. So it's a really, really ingenious process. So right now the guys are finishing up taking the rebar and bending this over so that the pour will turn and then dip over and drop down into what we left a little bit low so that that pour locks in from the ceiling to the wall. So the other thing that we're working on now is to make sleeves for the electrical wiring to go along the ceiling, the underneath ceiling, and then to make a turn and then poke out the wall. And so that is what we have installed here. For all the, these are sleeves, and I put in 4 of them. I put in 4 2-inch conduits so that any of the wires, because over here is where my utility room is going to be. And so with that, I'm going to need wire to run across and come out to feed this part of the house. So hopefully 4 2-inchers should be enough. The Romex isn't that big, so we can probably stick 4 or 5 Romex through each hole, and that should be it. The other parts I can feed, like this part of the house, I can feed in the ceiling or in the walls. So the other thing we're going to do, because this is pretty much going to be a bunker, our bathroom that's right here and it's open to the whole room, we are going to plumb it for an exhaust fan, even though I do have an ERV, just to make sure that when you are taking a shower that we don't fill the whole room up with steam. I'm going to plumb it for an exhaust fan here and pop it out this wall. That will be right. It'll come in right there, and so it'll pop out right there. I'm going to sleeve it now so that if in the event we need to come back and put it, I don't have to try to drill in through lots of concrete that's it's almost like at an angle and it's bent over and I don't know where the rebar is, but now we can slide that sleeve in there and make it easy, super easy. So we will now go downstairs so that you guys can see what the bracing looks like for us to be able to stand on here and pour concrete. All right, so now let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to turn around and you guys can see our spider web of blocking. So I will point some things out for you. We'll have a 2x6 is the horizontal across the top, and then we have a 2x4 that is set on a T. So you have makes a T, makes this thing super rigid. So after all this is poured, and we wait, let it cure out. It'll probably be somewhere around 30 to 40 days to make sure that the cure is out. Then they'll come through, we'll take all of this out, and it's one span. And what's neat is they build in just a little bit of crown. If you notice it, I don't know if you can see it on the video, there's a little bit of crown right here in the middle of the garage. So when everything sets up and we pull the jacks, and then the full weight of the concrete is realized, it'll have just a little bit of settling, maybe about that much, but maybe it might not be. We put in 3/4 of 1 inch, and so if it drops at half, I still have just a slight crown, so when we're parking the cars, big cars, even if it has any deflection, it'll still be nice and flat. But that's all built in. That was from the engineers to add just a little bit here on the front end, so that if it's perfectly flat and you pull this off and it settles, it might have a little bit of a dip to it. So we didn't want that. So right now I'm outside. I'll be in the middle of the house in the basement. And so this is where we're working on our conduits here. So they're going to stick them in there, and then they're going to take that sledgehammer right there, and they're going to jam them into the styrofoam here. And so I have enough room between that C channel in the wall that'll be poking out. So I'll dig that out. My wire will run along the ceiling, turn, and go in. And and it pops out in these tubes here, which will be at the same elevation as my floor joist. Then I can run them in the spans of my floor joist. The exhaust fan that I was talking to you about from upstairs. So right here is going to be where my shower will be. So it'll be 4 feet deep and 6 feet wide. So if you're standing here in the shower, I will use this chase right here, which is this seam. I know that's the seam that I want. And so what we'll do is once the concrete is done, we'll carve this out. Take all that here, and then my other sleeve is there, and it'll poke straight out the wall. It is the morning of our concrete garage slab pour. I was going to go over a little bit about the actual what has been done for the slab with our rebar and the finished floor and all the different pieces. So this is a very specific pour, and we want to make sure that our rebar, because this is a very structural the integrity, that this rebar sits in the middle of our concrete pour. Anyway, so we have these special chairs that sit here, and the rebar can sit this way and this way, and so these don't move. So when the concrete hits it and moves it, it doesn't push around, and it stays right in there. And then they don't have to hook all them together because they actually connect in here and hold it for you. And so this section over here is where they ran out. So we'll finish that up real quick. Ben was talking about that we need another row of the ICF block here. And so we'll make that go, they'll bring that around. And the reason that is that the wall continues on up. And so we need that ICF block to continue on up. What they'll do is they'll cut half of it, the inside half, and cut it out, which is like this here. Let me get down here. So they'll cut the inside here, this section of the ICF block. Just gonna set that like that. So that the concrete can pour and then go in. And then the outside of it, of course, is the actual structural integrity and the insulation. And we're going to want that on the outside of the house. So the outside will have the ICF, but the inside will be cut open so that the concrete can pour and drop down into it. This here is so when the concrete comes up, it looks like it'll probably be somewhere around this level right here, because that matches up with if you're going to put the subfloor on, so that when you walk across, it's a straight entry all the way in. It only really matters at the door opening there, but We want to make sure it's as close as possible. And then we have some extra sleeves, and I talked about the ERV, which is the energy recovery ventilation, and that brings outside air in and the inside air out. And so we have to get through this wall here, which is a concrete wall, from this side, the master bedroom, to that side. And that's what these bigger pipes are, the sleeves. And so it'll come here, turn, come up, in, and then it can feed the house right there. So we have one there and one over there. So one is a supply and one of them is a return. Before our concrete truck arrives, thought it's nice and quiet here now, so I'm going to turn around so you guys can see what the pour is going to look like now that we have everything braced and ready to go. Point some things out for you. So for the opening of the garage, that'll be the top of that 2x12. This will be braced back into the earth just in this area so that it doesn't want to lean out with any of the pressure of the concrete. And then I'll squat down here and you can see where the wall will continue on up right there. But they've cut the bottom part out of it so that the slab, when we pour it, will go under that and then down into it. And I'll walk over there so that you guys can see this. So give me just a second to step across. There we go. Okay, so let's go over here to look at one. So when we pour the concrete here, it's going to go here and it'll hit somewhere about right in here, right? Because we're 4 inches, it'll hit about right here. But the rest of it, so when we pour it, we'll start to go under that. And then it'll go down. It'll go down here and then turn, and that's where we get the lock-in from the wall to the roof of this. And so that's what makes the monolithic pour, so that this whole structure hooks together. And that's where you can see the rebar that was cast down in here, up, and then was bent over. And then on top of that was our 2x2 grid. Let's see if I can get down here so you guys can see it better along there. And then so we use the wire ties in the sections here where we don't have the trays, so that everything sits up just off of the bottom, so that it sits right in our 4-inch slab. I have one more item on the walls here. And so on the back side of it, since we only have one row of ICF, so what we've done is we've braced with some 2x4s down and then up, so that keeps that wall from, let me scoot back out here, keeps that wall from bending out ever so slightly, because the last thing you want is your wall to come up and then have this bend and then go back up. So that's what all that bracing is, and it goes around the back side too. Underneath and see how it looks. Of course, I won't go in just for safety reasons, but I'll peek in there so you guys can see what it looks like. Well, we'll go down this section here. Go take a peek and look. Let's see how we get. We have just a few little drips in between the keyways, but man, that's amazing. Alright, so this is one of the finishers. His name is Alex. This guy is a master at his craft. Young kid, but I'm telling you, he has got the knowledge of somebody twice his age. And he was the one I was showing on the previous ones. Takes really good care of his equipment. So what he's going to do is he's going to start this thing up, and then we'll start smoothing it out. What's happening here? Is he getting his screed dirty?
He's getting his screed dirty.
Oh no! We give him a hard time for keeping his equipment so clean, but overall, they love it. You know they love it. Down to, just got to let it set up just a little bit. It'll set up a little faster today because we're in the mid 70s. The humidity is nice and high, so we don't have to worry about it drying too fast. Doug is now going to start doing the screeding. Alex, great job, buddy.
Thank you. Very fun. It went well.